Hi, everybody. My name is Karen Cerna. I'm the director of the Student Money Management Office here at Austin Community College. And I'd like to spend the next few minutes talking to you about managing credit, one of my favorite personal finance topics to talk about. Let's start with why is excellent credit important? So, credit is part of our world every day. You need excellent credit when you are getting many forms of employment. One third of all employers check your credit as part of the hiring process. You will need credit when you rent an apartment without a cosigner. You will also need credit when you you apply for a loan for purchasing a car, for example, or when you purchase a home. Let me tell you a little bit about how credit works. There are three credit bureaus. They are TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. These three companies collect information on us. This is not an opt-out system. We are all participating in this system. They collect information on us, such as our payment history, what kinds of credit we're using, what our loan balances are, if we've ever missed a payment, and also some personal information. So, our address, for example, they collect all of this consumer information. And then these three companies assemble the information into a report, which we call a credit report. And then they sell that credit report to people who want to judge us based on our credit, right? So TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian all produce a report. In addition to producing a report, they also calculate a three-digit credit score for you. Now, each company has a different way of calculating your credit score. So while your credit score should be similar among the three credit agencies, it most likely will not be the same. So in our example here, you see the TransUnion, the credit score they give you is 720, Equifax 736, and Experian 601. The reason that we have the 601 in red is because while you can't expect your credit score to be the same across the three companies, they should be similar. And when one company has a drastically different score than another, and when I say drastically, I mean like 100-point difference, there may be something on the Experian report that's being incorrectly reported. So that would be an indication to look into the Experian report and see if everything on there should be on there. The three-digit score that these companies produce is commonly called a FICO score. FICO is a brand. So it's like when we call tissues Kleenex, FICO is a brand of credit score. There are other credit scoring models out there. So these three companies then sell your report to people like banks, landlords, mortgage lenders, employers, people who want to take a look at how you've managed credit in the past. If you are young, you may not have a credit report if you've never used credit before. So it is, however, regardless of your age, very important to take a look at your credit report and make sure that you recognize everything that's on that credit report. So where you go to check your credit report for free is annualcreditreport.com. That's annualcreditreport.com. There are many like sounding sites that claim to give you a free credit report from all three credit reporting agencies, but they may not actually be free. So we want you to go to annualcreditreport.com and pull your credit report from all three credit agencies and take a look and make sure that you agree with what's on there. That is one good place to take a look to see if you are the victim of identity theft. If you are the victim of identity theft, you may see things on your credit report that you have no idea why they're on there. So when you take a look at your credit report, you want to make sure that you recognize everything on there, that your addresses, you recognize all the addresses that are on that report. So for example, when I pull my report, it lists the past 5 physical addresses I've had. And so when I see that, I say, yes, I have lived at all those locations. If I were to see an address, say in Minnesota, a place where I have never lived, that could be an indication to me that somebody has tried using my information to open credit in my name. So that's what you want to be looking for. Just make sure you recognize everything that's on your credit report. So what's in your credit report? Again, each one of the 3 credit agencies will have their own report. Here is an example of an Equifax report. The things that you'll see on there are your personal information. So we'll have your birth date, your address, your name. Then you'll see account information. So you'll see things on there like if you have an auto loan or you have an auto loan that's closed and paid off, that will be on there. Any credit cards you have will be on there. It will also include any collection accounts. So for example, if you had a cell phone plan and for whatever reason you got mad at your cell phone carrier and you just stopped paying your cell phone bill and it went to collections, that will show up on your credit report. Medical bills that are unpaid and have been sent to collection will also show up on your credit report under the collection accounts. Bankruptcies will also show up on your credit report. And then the other thing you'll see on there are inquiries. And so that will list the entities who have looked at your credit. Okay, what's an excellent credit score? This is a demonstration of the FICO credit score. The FICO credit score, again, is a brand of credit score. It is the most widely used credit score. It ranges from a low of 300, which is very poor credit, to a high of 850, which is excellent credit. We want you all to have excellent credit. By having an excellent credit score, that ensures that if and when you need to get an auto loan or a home loan, you will get the lowest interest rate, and therefore you will pay the least amount of money for borrowing money that's possible. Now, if you have not used credit before, you just will not have a credit score. This is not a system where you start at 300 and work your way up. When you start using credit, after about 6 months of using credit, you will pop on there. And if you've got great payment history, you'll probably pop on there in the good to great category. And then just as you use credit and your history grows, you can work your way up to excellent credit. So what makes up a credit score? These are the different components of a credit score. And what I like to tell people to focus on are the largest pieces of this donut here. So focus on the amounts owed and your payment history, because those are under your control and they have the biggest effect on your credit score. So let's take a look at that payment history first. 35% of your credit score is based on your payment history. So that means if you make your payments on your credit cards, your auto loans on time every single month, you will have an excellent payment history. If you are late, 30 days late, your payment history takes a ding, your score goes down. The other big part of this donut here is the amounts owed. What we recommend you do is if you have a credit card that, say, for example, has a $1,000 credit limit, never have a balance greater than 30% of the available credit on that credit card. So in this example, $1,000 credit limit, you never want to have more than $300 on that credit card. That demonstrates that you are not just going to be given a credit card and max it out and use it irresponsibly, that even though you have a large amount of credit available to you, you are disciplined and you are only using a portion of what's available to you. So you want to keep the amounts owed on any credit cards to less than 30% of the available credit limit. Now, the other 3 pieces there, length of credit, credit mix, and new credit, I generally tell people just to ignore because you don't have a whole lot of control over these parts. So for example, length of credit is just simply how long have you been using credit? That is a function of age primarily. So as you get older and you've used credit for a longer period of time, you will essentially score higher in that category. When this comes into play is you've probably heard that people say, oh, if you have a credit card, don't necessarily just close it. It might ding your credit score. And where that comes, where there is some truth in that, is if you've had a credit card, say for 5 years, and that is the longest piece of credit that you have, and you close that credit card, you essentially cut off part of your credit history. And for some of us, that could be a big deal. For some of us, that might not be a big deal. So I might, I'll give you a resource later that you can explore more in depth of what closing a credit card, for example, what that might have, what kind of effect that might have on your credit score. So I'll make sure I cover that before we wrap up. So the other two, credit mix and new credit, the credit agencies or companies, they just want to see that you're using different types of credit. I don't think it's worth paying attention to. I don't think it's worth just getting an auto loan so you can say, oh yeah, now I have a credit card and an auto loan. That's not a reason in and of itself to get an auto loan. Such a small part of your credit score, don't pay attention to it. And then new credit, I think this one personally is a little ridiculous. The credit agencies want to see us continuously using new lines of credit. And I just don't think that is worth paying attention to. So again, pay attention to the amounts owed and the payment history, especially because that has the biggest impact on your credit score, and that is really under your control. Okay, types of credit. So the types of credit I wanted to talk to you about, we've got installment credit. So those are loans. So those are things that have an end, okay? So like federal student loans, private student loans, auto loans, mortgage loans, they have an end date. And just a note on federal student loans, borrow only what you need. That actually applies to any kind of loan. Borrow only what you need. We like federal student loans better than private student loans because they have lower interest rates and there are multiple repayment options. Again, auto loans and mortgage loans are another example of installment credit. They have an end date. Revolving credit, those are credit cards. So you think about you charge a little and then you pay it off, charge a little, pay it off. It's like a revolving door, revolving credit. Let's talk about how credit cards work. When you get a credit card, we recommend paying off your balance in full every single month. It is a complete myth that if you want a great credit score that you have to keep a balance on your credit card. Totally a myth. That is not the case. When you have a credit card, pay off your balance every single month. Credit cards sometimes come with hefty interest rates. For example, a store card. So that a store card would be like a Target card or any other, I'm trying to think of all different types of store. Kohl's has a store card. They typically come with pretty high interest rates. Home Depot has a store credit card. So let's say, for example, you buy a new computer. You buy an Apple MacBook and it's $2,000 and you put that on a credit card. Your monthly payment is $60. Let's say the interest rate is 22.24%. If you think that's high, yes, it's high, but that is the average interest rate for a store credit card. Just in the first month alone, when you make that $60 payment, you are paying $37.06 just towards interest. That means in that first payment, you are only reducing your principal balance by $22.94. So we keep on going. Joe was this example. If Joe only makes the minimum monthly payment of $60, he will end up spending $3,180 over 4 years and 4 months. It's an expensive way to buy things. We recommend using a credit card, paying it off in full every single month. This is the Student Money Management Office. This is how you can reach us. Our website has a lot of additional information for you. And I wanted to jump over quickly there so you can get some additional resources. So under the Learn tab, we have online education.